G'day guys, today I'll be turning a budget Android phone into a dedicated web server. The phone we'll be using is the Optus X-Start 4, also known as the ZTE-P503, sporting a Unisoc SC9863A octa-core CPU with 2GB of RAM and running Android 13 Go. Before we start, I have already set a static IP on this phone. The first thing we're going to need to do is download a few things. So I'll open up Chrome and we'll download Termux first, which is the program we'll be using to run our server. Again, just Termux APK into Google. I won't get the Google Play version, instead I'll get the F-Droid version. Scroll all the way down the bottom to download APK. Download. While that's downloading, I will also download a web program called Tiny File Manager. So Tiny File Manager. It's got its own little website. Go to the Git page. We'll scroll down a little bit. We do want to download the offline branch. That way all of the files are stored locally on the device. So if you don't have internet and you're using this as a hotspot, it'll still work. It won't look weird. So we'll scroll down and we want the offline branch as mentioned. And then just go code, download zip. Once both files are downloaded, we will install Termux. You will also need a file manager that can view the external drive names if you want to run the server from an external drive or an SD card. We'll get into that a little bit later, but for this video I'll be using Mixplorer. And we'll just install Termux. Once that's done, we will add it to the home screen and we'll open it up. Make sure you press allow. Once you've installed it, you are also going to want to make sure that battery optimization is disabled for this app. It's different for every version of Android, but basically go to the battery settings, advanced, app management, and change this to manual or disable power managing altogether. And you also want to swipe down and acquire wake lock. If you don't do both of those things, you'll find when the phone goes to sleep or the display turns off, it does kill all the processes. So once we're in Termux, we want to start with a package update. So pkg space up, press yes, and I'll just press enter for the default no. Once that's done, we want to install OpenSSH. So just do apt install OpenSSH. Yes. This step is optional, but it allows us to obviously SSH into the server from a laptop, which is a lot more convenient to type on, and it'll also let us SFTP into it to copy files to and from it. We also want to set up a password so we can actually log in, so type in passwd and enter a password for your server. So I'm just going to be using test. You do want to make it fairly secure if you're opening this up to the web, or even if you're using it locally, it's good to have a good password, but just for this video, to make it easy, I'll keep it as test. I will just lock the phone now. We want to do one more thing on the phone before moving to our laptop. The server will run in the background, and we'll move on to our Windows 10 laptop to finish off configuring. And that's it, and now we can remote in from another computer. There was one more step before we move to our laptop, and that is to set up storage. So to do that, type in Termux -setup -storage. Again, I'm just using tab to autocomplete. And allow. And with this done, we can now access our internal phone storage as well as any external devices in Termux, which is very handy. If you're unsure what your IP is, you can find out by typing in ifconfig in Termux. And there's our IP there, 192.168.150. We'll now move on to our Windows 10 device and finish configuring the server remotely. You can now lock the phone and the server will keep running in the background. Over on our Windows 10 desktop now, we do want to download the program PuTTY. This will allow us to remote into our phone server. And I will scroll down to the portable. And we'll just open it. Perfect. So from here, we'll type in our server IP. For you, it might be different, but for me, it was 192.168.150. Make sure you change the port to 8022. And click OK or open. And we'll accept. Now it's asking for a username to log in as. You can use anything you want. Doesn't matter. It makes no difference. So I'll just type in SJSL. The password is the password we set earlier. So for me it was test. And we are in. Okay, we'll start off installing the Php-Apache stack. So we'll just do apt install php-apache. And yes. Now we do want to edit the Apache config files. They are under cd data/com.termux files user etc. and Apache 2. I will put that in the description down below so you can copy and paste it to make it easier for yourself. And I'll just make sure it's in there. And it is. It's httpd.conf. So let's do nano ht tab autocomplete. And we want to scroll down a little bit to where it starts to load the modules. We want to comment out the npm worker module, and we want to uncomment the prefork. After that, we do want to paste a few lines of code in. Again, I'll put this in the description so you can copy and paste it. This just loads our PHP module. You can paste into Termux by right-clicking. Now if we scroll down further, this is our document root, so this is the web host root. You can make this be any folder you want, but I will leave it as default for now. But if you were hosting it on a flash drive or an external hard drive, you could point it towards that. I'll show you how to find the correct address for that a bit later. For now, we'll leave it as the same. And here we want to add index.php just before index.html, just so it does try and load PHP files first. And we can save this by Control-O and enter, and quit it by Control-X. Now we have already set up storage in an earlier step, so we can just navigate to that. Go cd $home, and there should be a folder called storage, cd downloads, and these are our file downloads. I do want to copy our tiny file manager over to our htdocs folder. So to do that, I'll just go move, tiny file manager. Again, I'll just press T and tab to autocomplete. And we want to move it into our htdocs folder, which is /data/com.termux/files/user/share Apache 2. I am missing an A on both of them. That's why I couldn't autocomplete. Apache 2. Default site. And htdocs. Now if we navigate to that folder, and I will remove test page. So rm index.html. I'll also remove the manual, rm manual, and I will unzip tiny file manager. Cool. Now we can either put it in its own subfolder or make it as the default. So I will just remove the zip file first. .zip and cd tiny file manager. I want to move star to make sure they're all gone, and they're all there. I will also rename tiny file manager .php to index.php, just so it's the first file that's loaded when you navigate to the website. And I'll remove the tiny file manager folder because it's empty now. So tiny file manager. Perfect. Now I will start the web server, Apache CTL start. And if we go over here, type in the IP, which is 192.168.150. We do have to put the port in because it's non-standard. HTML or HTTP is port 80, but we can't use anything below 2000, I believe, without root. So it's 8080. And there's our tiny file manager. The default login for it is admin as the username, and the password is admin@123. So here's our little file server and web server already set up. I will test by uploading a file. I'll upload putty. That's done. And there it is there. We can double check it did work by back on our server and just ls, and there it is there, putty.exe. Now obviously you probably don't want to use the unsecured default tiny file manager login credentials. So I'll show you how you can change that. So let's go sign out, so back to the login screen. Open up a new tab, and we'll go back to the tiny file manager. Git, tiny file manager. I could have went the second one. Go to the Git. If we scroll down, you can generate a new password hash here. So I'll tip on that. And again, I'll just put the password as test. You'll probably want to use a more secure password. Click generate. There is our new password hash for test. Go back into putty. We want to edit. First of all, we'll stop the server. So Apache CTL stop. Nice and easy. Apache CTL start to start. Apache CTL stop to stop. Then we'll go nano index.php, which is our tiny file manager. We'll scroll down to here. We want to put a comma after that user. We can delete these or change these as well, but I'll leave them both there. And they use 4 spaces. And I'll username, so I'll just call sjsl, put anything you want in that. And then the password, again, right click to paste. There it is there. And that's it. And I'll also just comment out the username just so we know. Oh, the password, sorry. You obviously wouldn't put the password here on a live server, but this is just, again, just a test. So we'll save that, Control-O and Control-X. If we do Apache CTL start, that starts our web server. Go back to Tiny File Manager. This is again, our website, port 8080, our IP. Put your server's IP in, obviously. Let's refresh it. And the new username, which is sjsl, and the password is test. Perfect. I will also show you how you can connect to your server to copy files to and from it fairly easily from a Windows computer. And for that, we'll be using FileZilla. So I'll just download it. We just want the client. I did not know they had paid tiers. I assume this was freeware still. Once that's finished downloading, we will open it up. I did end up downloading the zipped version just because the installer just wouldn't download for some reason. So extract it. So from here, for the host, we want to do SFTP : / and then the server IP, which for me is 192.168.150, and the port, which is 8022 for SSH. Username, again, could be anything. I'll put sjsl. The password, which I put as test. Actually, we don't want to put the port there. We want to put the port at the end, 8022. And just go quick connect. I will not save passwords for this time. And here is our phone server. So this is the internal storage. Go downloads, and there's the files there. So pretty handy, you can copy files to and from it. If you decided not to use Tiny File Manager, this could be a pretty neat alternative, but you do need to have a SFTP client. Next, I'll show you how you can access the internal SD card or an external USB device plugged into the phone server. So back in our phone server, it's going to press home to get out of Termux, and I will open up Mixplorer. If you press on the menu, at the top it says SD card, and under, I'll see if I can focus on it. There it is there. It has the location, which is /storage/40bf-0fe4. So depending on what SD card or device flash drive you have plugged in, it will have a different unique ID, and we will need to remember that ID to access it in Termux. So just make a note of that, and we will go back to our PuTTY session. So back in PuTTY, we will do cd/storage/ and then the unique ID we just wrote down, which for me was 40BF-0fe4. And there is my micro SD card inserted into the phone. We can access it. So let's double check, CD download. We can make a test file, so let's do test.txt. Hello, this is our test. And we will save it. Whoops, wrong one. And quick exit out of it. If we have a look, there's our file. So we do have read-write access. I've noticed it depends on which Android version you're using. In Android 12 Go, I was able to read and copy files from the internal storage and also the internal SD card, but I was not able to write new files to it. I was only able to write it into the Android/com.termux/files folder. So just keep that in mind, but on Android 13 Go, I do have full read-write access, which is very handy. If you wanted to access the external storage in Tiny File Manager, an easy way to do it is to create a symbolic link. So to do that, we'll do ln-s, and then our source, which is /storage/ and then our SD card ID, which was 40BF-0fe4 space, and then where we actually want to create the link, which will be in our htdocs folder or our WebRoot. Now, if we go over to our WebRoot, have a look, we can see our SD card name. I'm just going to rename it MV, the name of the SD card folder, which is that, and I'll call it SD card. Now we can just go CD SD card, and there is our SD card. If we go back to our web server, which it should still be running, just make sure it is, we can see we have our SD card folder, and we have full access to our SD card. I will upload PuTTY in here. There's our test file that we did create from the terminal. Hello as a test. So that worked fine. And I will upload. I believe I might have a song. I do not, so I'll do PuTTY. If we go back, we have PuTTY in our SD card. Just again, it does depend on which Android version you're running, and might even depend on which phone you're using, which variant of Android they have. So Android 12 on different phones are very slightly different. Depends on which what access you have for the external storage. So Android 13 Go on this specific device, I do have full read-write access, which is definitely great. If you don't, I have had luck using the Android. So I'll just go CD Android. Whoops. There we go. CD data. CD com.termux. CD files. So if you put all of your files on your SD card in this specific folder, you will have full rewrite access. So that could be a workaround if your Android version doesn't let you have default rewrite access. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or issues, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching.